So when I saw that in a forum that looked to me like one of the sales sheets that they would send out to reps, and I saw that putter, I was like, this has got to be some sort of a joke. Like, there's no way that they did that design.
G'day guys, welcome to another episode of Fully Equipped. Wade Maroun, Kris McCormack, and Johnny Wunder has joined the podcast here via satellite. Johnny, Kris, how you doing, lads?
Oh, gents, it's another fun-filled day. Get to hang out with you guys, talk about gear, talk about tour. Never a bad day when that happens.
No,
there's a lot to talk about. Oddly enough, Valspar week, but coming off of players, like there's some stuff. We have some stuff. We have a little bit of drama too. We can attack. At some point in the show, we got some couple of companies trying to kick each other in the face again, which is always a good time.
That just makes for good conversation there.
I want to save that till the end, though. I want to save that till the end. Like let's kind of bury the lead. But there's obviously if you go on any forum or any golf equipment, there's a chatter about one putter looking very much like another one, and I just want to get. I'm excited to hear what you guys think about all that stuff.
Johnny, you're diving into this brand agnostic world again,
and
we see you posting a lot of content, doing a lot of testing. Anything jumping out to you?
Well, okay, I need to preface it by saying this. Everybody makes good stuff. So what I'm noticing is that the separation between good versus not good is not really there anymore. It's all a different kind of good. So everybody's got their different idea of what makes something fast and forgiving. This is for irons, drivers, for everything. So what I'm noticing is actually just kind of hard to decide. I mean, it's like I'm hitting stuff and I'm loving it. It all feels good. It all checks off all the TrackMan's numbers. And literally now it's sort of in the nuance in, like, what company do I like? Like, what do I like looking at? And because I'm not noticing anything different. If you guys saw the Strixon article I posted yesterday versus like the irons I was playing, it's not all that different. Like, I had to whittle it all the way down to like where my thin shots were going. Like that was the only metric I could really find that was substantially different one versus something else. So, really like the ping stuff. I love the Strixon stuff. We'll talk about a couple of the visits I'm making while I'm here in a second. Really impressed with the PXG irons, actually. That was the one that surprised me the most. They've always made great irons, but I didn't realize how much I was going to like their irons. Those 0317 CB irons are...
Yeah, those are solid.
The 0317s are a great iron. I was at PXG and launched those when I was there. They're a really great iron. And what they did with those lovely, in regards to feel, everything is good. And I feel like with the 0370s, they actually kind of fixed their jumper issue they had. Flyer issue, sorry. They had a big flyer issue prior to the 0317s. And I think that iron in the CB, the T, and the ST, I think that really helped get away from that, which is great. And you're seeing a lot more people play them, which is a good thing for PXG.
Well, like, to finally like answer your question, Kris, like what I'm noticing now, getting back into the brand agnostic ecosystem, is that it's actually easier to just pick a company and stick with a company than ever before. So, if your allegiance is to Titleist and you just like the branding, you're not losing out on life if you're playing a full bag of Titleist stuff. You're not losing out on life if you just choose to play a full TaylorMade bag, right? And before there was always holes somewhere. Like, if you choose this company, well, their wedges aren't very good or the drivers aren't very good. But like now it's like, I mean, hell, like even Strixon makes good drivers. I mean, like they're all over the place. Like there's I remember when I was at WRX, I hit a couple of the Strixon drivers and I was like, this, it's not as good as TaylorMade or it's not as this. And then I just hit their driver the other day and I'm like, this thing's awesome.
Yeah.
like what? Like
that was,
didn't see.
Like when Wade and Wade's first trip to Carlsbad, and we're going and testing all the product at all the different OEMs. And I love taking guys there for the first time and letting them kind of go through the process. And Wade and I are both just absolute gear junkies and total nerds for new toys, right? As we all are. And we had several conversations that were just like, man, like this stuff's really good. I could play this. Man, this stuff's really good. I could play this. And I mean, we've all talked about before, like you give a good fitter enough time and enough resources, and they can pretty much beat anything that's out there.
Right.
And it's like you spend enough time with the guys at TaylorMade, they're going to beat everything that's in your bag. And then you take all of that stuff and you go over to the guys at Ping and you give them enough time and enough resources, and they're going to beat everything that you just got. And it's just that, I mean, to your point, everybody makes really good stuff. It's just a matter of what do you like the look of, sound of, feel of, and what kind of checks the box for your miss, your launch window, and ball flight that you want to see.
And even that's getting harder to decipher, like, because they're all sort of like they're all kind of doing the same thing in a great way. Like, I was hitting the Strixon irons the other day, and my miss is always thin. Like, I don't chunk it, I don't hit off the heel or the toe. Everything's like thin, 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 because I pop out of it so bad. So I'm always looking for irons that are like really good when you hit it thin. And Callaway was always really, really good at that. Like, you hit a thin shot and things are great. So I got to the point where these Strixons, they were so neck and neck with everything else I was hitting. Like, I'm just going to try and hit a couple thin just to see how much I lose. And I was like, oh, wow, I only lost like a mile an hour of ball speed or 2 miles an hour of ball speed, whatever it was. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like, I had to go all the way to that, down to the bottom of that rabbit hole to find out where they separated themselves. And, that was just the 7-through pitching wedge. Like when I got to 4, 5, and 6 with the ZXi5 versus the other things I was hitting, they all feel amazing. They all fly high. They all go forever. Like, they all still spin. Like, it's just it's a fun time to buy equipment. I mean, if you're in the market for equipment, I mean, you can literally throw a rock and hit a great piece of equipment, where before you kind of had to know where you're throwing. So,
are you testing anything different shaft related, Johnny? Now that you're kind of outside of Callaway, you're seeing that, like, with what you were playing in your Callaway stuff, whether it was the AI or now with the Elite, you're playing a certain shaft. Are you seeing that you're going to different shafts and different manufacturers to get the same kind of results that you're getting, or better results? Like I noticed with Ping, I play the Diamana GT in it, and then everything else I play the TR Red 6S in it.
right.
Like, are you noticing differences shaft-wise by manufacturer, or is everything pretty clean cut as you're going across?
It's all pretty clean cut. Like, whenever I'm doing stuff like this, and I'm in a good spot of where they send everything to me in my spec, so I can kind of control all the variables, right? So I can, and when I'm doing this, I try to make everything exactly the same. So like when the irons, I'm always going to get S400s, and in the woods, I'll either get ADDI or Ventus Blue or whatever the blue profile, because they're all kind of similar to me. They all perform the same. So, no, to answer your question, like I haven't really been messing around with shafts and trying to figure out what they all do. Like, I've just tried to keep all the variables the same. Now, could I, like to Kris's point about getting in with a good fitter, like this week, for example, I'm going to TaylorMade and Titleist, right, with fitters, and usually I'm just fitting myself.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see, like this afternoon at TaylorMade, for example, if I'm hitting drivers and I'm like, okay, this one's really good, and then all of a sudden a fitter comes in there and starts jerry rigging a TaylorMade driver to kind of do what I needed to do. It's going to be interesting to see where I end up.
Who are you working with at TaylorMade, Johnny? Do you know?
I don't. The guy that usually helps me is a guy named Adrian Riedfeld, but he's at Valspar.
Yeah.
So I know Joe's out there, and I know a couple of the fitters out there. I really don't know, to be honest.
I was with Dwayne when I was there, and Dwayne's awesome.
Yeah, they have. I mean, if you're fitting at the Kingdom, you obviously are doing, like, you know what you're doing. So I've never had a bad experience with anything at the Kingdom. It's always been a good time. So
yeah, love that place.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, like for the people that are listening to the show, like, everybody has a center, like a testing center, right? Like Ping has their HQ, and Callaway has ECPC, and then there's the Kingdom, and then there's TPI. Those are the four main ones. And people used to always ask me, like, what's the best one? And I'm like, well, TPI has the best outside facility, grass, short game, driving range. Like, you're hitting into the Pacific Ocean. Like, it's amazing.
TPI is really cool. And
yeah,
they just
TPI is
did
sick.
A full renovation and built holes that you can play at TPI.
Yeah, to mimic like holes at Augusta and stuff. Like, it's legit. But I haven't seen I haven't seen it since it recreated, but it's still always been the best property, like the best actual hitting spot. Kingdom's always had the best clubhouse because it's like a clubhouse. You walk in there and it's like walking into a bar that has a really nice driving range on the back end of it. That's kind of like what the Kingdom feels like. And then ECPC is kind of right in the middle. It's got really good practice facility. The actual, house or whatever, the center is, nice enough, probably needs some upgrades, but that one kind of falls in the middle of the two. But they're all really unique in their own right. They're all really fun to go get a fitting. So I'm excited to do that today and tomorrow. So I'm going into the TaylorMade bubble for 3 hours, and I'm going into the TPI bubble tomorrow it's like I'm not going to know who the hell I am come tomorrow afternoon.
It definitely, when you go and do that gear tour, it takes a while to digest what you went through, what you experienced. I mean, the different approaches that the different OEMs have, the different kind of touches and nuances that each one of them have. Like Titleist is probably, in my opinion, the most thorough top to bottom, because you have an opportunity to test literally every single club, and they prioritize being able to kind of build you a set based upon the launch windows, the spin thresholds, the ball speed, kind of incrementations between irons. So it's like when Wade and I were kind of going through it, they go, okay, we need 5 miles an hour of separation between each iron, and okay, we're T100 here, but the T100 just isn't quite getting that consistency, and the deviation isn't there. Let's go to T150. All right, T150 gets us there, but it's not launching and spinning. Okay, let's go T200. Now T200 is faster, and now we have too much of a gap. We go back to 150, and they go and they bend it.
Right.
And they'll go, okay, we're going to weaken it to where it falls in line with the loft of T100, which is basically going 2 degrees weak on a T150.
Right.
And the setup that they came up with me was so interesting. And it was T100 basically through the 6 iron. And then I had a T150 5 iron bent 2 degrees weak. And then I had a T200 with a graphite design composite shaft that was again bent weak. And I mean, that set of irons was definitely the most unique set that I've had an OEM construct for me. And it was just a really, really cool process watching them dissect the entire bag just based upon ball speed, apex height, spin, landing angle.
Well, this is an interesting topic, actually, because I talked a little bit about this in this article that'll go up at some point today about like observations from the Champions Tour, and I'll actually ask Wade to start. So, like, and Kris, you know where I'm going to be going with this, but like every bag has a point of diminishing returns, right? Somewhere in the iron set is where you start swinging your 6 iron as fast as your 5 iron. Everybody has it, even on tour they have it. It just falls in different spots.
Sure.
So like I'm at the Champions Tour yesterday. And, I'm walking around and, Freddie's got 3 hybrid, Freddie's got 6 head covers in his bag. And, there's not a lot of 4 irons anymore. There's a ton of 4 hybrids. There's a lot of 5 hybrids. There's a ton of 7 woods. So I'm sitting there talking. I was actually walking around with Rocco Mediates Group, and it was him, Ken Duke, Shane Birch, and Doug Barron. And I was kind of watching how they play. And I started talking to Ken Duke, and I go, he had a utility iron for his 5 iron, like a 4 hybrid for his hybrid. I mean, and it was all maxed up. And I go, how do you, like, as far as your gapping is concerned, like, what do you do? And he's the first person besides Phil Mickelson that told me this. He's like, I honestly don't pay attention to the loft on the club at all.
Yeah.
Like, so if I'm out with if my 4 iron is 18 degrees and my 5 iron is 19 degrees, but my 5 iron goes 200, my 4 iron goes 215, I don't care. Like, he's like, I back into lofts, meaning like I go to my spin needs, launch needs, and carry distance needs, and whatever that ends up being for the loft of the club is what it ends up. Like, it could be a 3 wood for all I care. It's just I need a 215 club, and this one particular goes exactly 215 at 3,300 spin, and at whatever. And I was like, that's funny, because I think most of us, left to our own devices, are trying to make a 4 iron go 215, right? By swinging harder. And like in your case, it's cool what Titleist did is that point of diminishing returns for you is probably 5 or 6 iron. So they start making the faces faster, And then the further you get into the set, they start making the profiles lighter so you can swing them faster. And all you're doing is just mitigating whatever you're losing speed-wise with technology.
Yep.
Which is, for my ego, up until about 5 years ago, I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, I know I hit this 24-degree 4-iron 210. I'm going to make this thing go 210. And I'm just beating myself into the ground because I just don't have it anymore. So I need
24-degree
technology.
4-iron. Yeah, you're playing
I was playing
the
weak lofts.
the traditional lofts.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought it was interesting, but on the Champions Tour, that's what you see. Like, the only club, like on the PGA Tour, no one's trying to max out distance on any club. It's all spin, accuracy. That's it. Like, they never go on the truck and say, I want to hit it 15 yards further. It doesn't happen. Champions
Right.
Tour a little bit more. Like, they'll walk onto the truck and talk to Brian Radigan. Those guys go, I need a gun. Like, I want to go 46 inches. I want to go down and loft. Like, I want something I can try to get 10 or 15 yards extra. And it's the only club they do that with is the driver. Everything else is just gapping.
They need the Wade Maroun driver.
Yeah, I think for me, like when I look at how I build my bag out, when I was worse at golf, all I would care about is distance, and I just wanted to get it further and further and further. So it was back to that: make the 4-iron go X amount of yards, make the 5-iron go X amount of yards. As I've gotten a lot better, and I'm trying to get down to that scratch level, I've completely flipped. The only club where I care about distance is my driver. And then I build everything backwards from that. Okay, if I'm hitting my driver 280, 290 yards carry, right, because different places are going to give you different rollout depending on what's going on with the weather, I need the next club in my bag to go 260. Then 240, whatever that gapping is, at 20 yards, 10 yards, 15 yards, it's totally up to you. But yeah, I couldn't give two shits whether it's a 19-degree 4-iron or whether it's a 22-degree 4-iron. I need my 4-iron to go 220 yards based on my gapping, 215, 220 yards, and how I get there, it doesn't really bother me. The only thing that I struggle with is look of the club. So I am very much one of those people that if I will get a driver at 10.5 degrees, like my current TaylorMade driver is 10.5 degrees, and I click it down to 9 degrees. Because I like to see an open face. So if I need to make something weaker, I will generally find something else that's already at standard at that weak loft, because I don't like to see a closed face. That's the only thing that I kind of stray away from, is trying to is anything with a closed face. Now that's why I'm starting to think about hybrid at that 240 mark in my bag, because now you can manipulate them to be more flat and open, so they don't look so closed. And I feel like I'm just going to hook it every time. So. But yeah, that's the only ramification I have in my bag where I'm like, I can't do it, is I can't weaken, because I can't stand looking at a closed club.
Well, do you know what's funny that you say that? Like you're gapping things off of your driver. Do you know what's funny is a lot of the Champions Tour players that I know don't gap anything. They gap everything off of their 3-wood. So like if you ask Rocco Mediate, for example, like he hits his 3-wood 230, right? So he just knows the next one down has to go 215, 200, and then he starts working down from there, right? But his driver, like he doesn't ever look at like his driver and go, well, my driver goes 290 and my 3-wood goes 230. There's a huge gap. He doesn't think of it that way. For him, it's like, no, the 3-wood is the club that I'm going to use when I have a 230 to 235 shot or whatever. And the driver, I want to go out as far as possible, because he's a player that hits his driver. If there's 14 driving holes, he'll hit it 12 times. He doesn't worry about the gapping at all until he gets to his 3-wood. So if there's a 60-yard gap between his driver and his 3-wood, he's like, well, whatever. I don't have a 260 club or whatever his driver carries 245 in the air, 250 in the air.
Yeah.
But if it happened to carry 270, he wouldn't start changing his 3-wood to match his driver. He wouldn't carry. He's like, that's.
Yeah. So my issue was I was having diminishing returns in 2 areas of the bag, and that's why I care about driver. So my driver and 3-wood / mini driver were all going very similar distances. There was a point.
Oh, I gotcha.
So there was a point where I was like sitting there going, do I even bother carrying driver anymore? And I just used my mini driver as my driver, because there was like 10 yards difference. And I'm like, that's silly. It doesn't need to be that way. Obviously, I just didn't have the right setup in my driver, didn't have the right everything, blah, blah, blah. And now we're all cool in the gang. But that's why at the top of the bag, I always started at driver, was because that diminishing return for some reason between my relationship with my driver and mini driver and 3-wood was all in a cluster.
But that's the part of the bag that most golfers they don't pay attention to, and they actually should. So like there was an interesting thing that I heard a player say, and it was like, I don't score, for example, like 4, 5, and 6 iron, right?
Mm-hmm.
They would say, I don't score with those irons. I just need to make sure they don't cost me any shots. So
Love that.
like, and this is a Champions Tour player saying this, like, I don't, I score with my driver. Don't score with my 3-wood. Don't score with my 5-wood, 4, 5. I don't score those clubs. I just need to make sure on my worst day that those things my strokes gained aren't going to be in the red with these clubs, which for most players they are. Like you get down to 4, 5, and 6. Like I can even say that about myself. I guarantee my strokes gain with a 4-iron, like on a par 3, is like plus 100. It's high, right? So that's kind of how they look at it. Like, they know the parts of their bag that need to be optimized for scoring, and then the parts of their bag that need to be optimized for survival. And if you start looking at everything with that, through that lens, you start looking at your bag way differently.
Yeah.
Because go ahead, Kris.
I was going to say that kind of aligns with a fitting philosophy that I've had for years, and so many players, kind of to your point, Johnny, focus on distance, 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 and then by the time they get down into that scoring zone, they just don't have any idea what they need because they're so obsessed with, okay, my driver goes this far, and then my 3-wood goes this far, and then I have a 5-wood or a 3 hybrid or whatever the case may be. And I've had more conversations than I can count with players about set composition and putting clubs together and kind of dividing the bag between the scoring zone and the proximity zone. So kind of like you were talking about, I just want these clubs to not cost me shots.
Right.
And that's a really cool way to kind of look at it, because that's conversations that I've had for years are, okay, so what is the longest club in your bag that you feel comfortable firing at a pin with? And for most players, they're going to say it's a 6 or a 7 iron. Even if it's in reality an 8 or a 9, they're going to say 6 or 7, which, okay, cool. But I don't know very many players that are firing pins at 200 yards. I don't know very many players that are expecting to hit the green from 2.25. And so that's where I'm putting priority with set composition into making sure that those gaps and those launch windows and those spin rates and just the playability of the bag is in that scoring zone. Everything else becomes a proximity club that's going to get us into a scoring club. And that's kind of how I explain it to people.
Well, go to the best player in the world, Scotty Scheffler, and you go to the top of his bag. So he goes 3 utility, 4 utility. So like his 3 and 4 irons are big, chunky Srixon UTs. It's not like a P7 TW 4 iron. Like and the reason why is because it's forgiveness. Like I've walked with him, and because he used to play a lot of practice rounds with Burns, and I'm asking like, how come you don't go to like a smaller cavity back 4 iron? He's like, because this one I can hit all over the face, and at my distance I'm hitting 3 utility and sometimes 4 utility into a lot of par fives. So like I know no matter what, on my worst day I can hit this thing straight up in the air. I can hit it thin and it'll still get up in the air. If I miss hit it, catch it on the toe a little bit, I'm still there. If I miss hit this P7 TW or something smaller, with as much as I'm going into par fives of these things, because that's where all the trouble is also. Like there's water all over the place. He's like, it's just not worth the risk. So, and that's that's the best player in the world saying that. So
Wade needs 3 or 4 UWs.
Yeah.
He goes driver, mini driver, and
my bag,
3 different UWs.
My bag is set. My bag is set. It's set.
No,
I'm not making. I will keep testing shit, but my bag is set.
What's in your bag, Wade?
At the top, I've got the LS driver from TaylorMade, the QI35.
QI35 LS, which he absolutely ropes, I have to say.
And then I've got the mini driver, and then
which one?
The burner mini, the new one. And I've got that at a 13.5, and I click that down to a 12.5 so I can see the face open. Then I've got a cluster where I go, depending on where I'm playing, I have a Srixon driving iron, I have a UW, and I've got a ping rescue coming. So that's there. And then I play the 4 through pitch. I play the Cobra 3D limited irons. And then in my wedges, I play a 46-degree Vokey, a 54-degree Vokey, and a 58-degree Vokey.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
My putter is going to be a rotating door, but right now it's a TaylorMade Spider with the L-bend neck.
So do you know what I'm most excited for like especially tomorrow at Titleist is going through that part of my bed, like going through that part, like the 4-5,
Yeah.
6 iron.
Can I tell you something? The best thing that happened at TPI for me, apart from like all that stuff, the funnest thing for me was the wedge fitting. My wedge game
selfishly I'm really excited
the
to do
blind
the wedge
grind.
stuff.
My wedge game has never been
Yeah.
better. My wedge game has never been better since doing that fitting over there, and I've got so much confidence in my wedges. It's wild, and that's the scoring area, right? When you're 120 yards in, that's where you're scoring from, and yeah. So I've got other mental problems on the green that I'm trying to work through, but outside of that, everything's good.
Do you know what's funny though, boys? Is like, don't think for a second I don't have an agenda when I go in and do my wedge fitting. I know exactly the 2 wedges I want to end up on, and this is how stupid I am. I'll make sure through performance that I focus in a little bit harder on those 2 wedges that I really want to make sure I walk out. And for me, it's the A+. It's A+ and K Star, the 2 that I'm like dying because I've seen them. Xander's got them.
Yeah,
I've chipped with them before. They're absolutely the greatest thing since water.
K-Star's nice. K-Star's
I'm looking to walk out of there with a little K-Star love.
Speaking of
never been happier.
Speaking of Xander, I know he uses the Align grips, right? Golf Pride has come out with the new Align Max. Has he made a change to the Align Max, or is he still playing the
no,
regular?
He's still in his MCCs that he's had for 2 years now. I think he's been doing that.
Got it.
And you know what the funny thing, like to your point about the Align stuff, where when he starts getting, we'll call it sloppy for him, the first thing that gets out of whack is his grip actually gets kind of strong. So when he starts hitting it bad and losing control of his golf ball, he actually de-lofts it more than he'd want. And the first place that his dad would always look is his grip.
Got it. Is that why you moved to the Align?
That's why they put the Aligns on. And what he would do, he would do this drill where they would take something flat. There's actually a video of him doing it, but I've seen him do it with stuff on a million times. Is they'll get something square, flat, and Xander won't hit a ball until he gets his grip on perfect and the face is perfectly square. Then he won't move it and put it behind the ball. So he's constantly working on his grip. So getting the Align for him was a big deal because it locked his hands in where, his dad wanted him to be 100% of the time.
And I will say with that new Align Max, got one right here, lads. This section, the ribbing, is 25% bigger. So it is going to be more affluent in there in your hand so you can feel where your hand placement is. Definitely going to help with more of a repeatable swing. I know with Golf Pride, I've used the Align grips in the past. I can tell the difference between the new versus the old. And I'm really interested to give this a go to see what it feels like in the hands, because just getting that feeling of hand placement is really important. And as being an ex-tennis player, you've got like those ridges on your tennis rackets. This definitely helps me get my hands in place. So go to golfpride.com, check out the new Align Max. Really cool colorways in the black and the gray. As I said, you can really feel that new ridge being 25% bigger, but go to golfpride.com, and if it's something that you want to give a go to, give it a whirl and comment and let us know what you think about it. So Golf Pride knows what to do with it.
You know what, boys? Kris, I have something that we can do that will actually be quite interesting to do, and you can pull it off.
All right, do tell.
Just do a couple of 7 irons, get Wadeh or somebody at true spec, one with an Align grip and one with not, put him on TrackMan and look at his face, like see how consistent his face stays
just
with
facial
Align
awareness.
Yeah, just to see. I'd be curious to see what, because I don't think anyone's done that before. Taking a grip, a Align grip versus just a normal grip, and checking to see the quality of strike, how much face rotation's actually there. Like if it is actually working for face control, could be an interesting experiment.
Let's do it.
I think if it came out on the positive side, Golf probably would look at us like we're gods. So I think we should do it regardless.
Probably won't come out. It probably won't come out if it's not on the positive side.
Probably not. Yeah.
It's definitely worth testing.
We probably bury it.
Grips are part of the equipment for your hands, right? It's the only connection point you have with the club. So I mean, if the grip's not right, you're going to start to make compensations. You're going to lose that facial awareness, and the grip is something that's really often overlooked. I just wrote an article actually about just gear changes everyone can make before jumping into the 2025 season, as everybody in the rest of the country is starting to gear up. It's, I mean, law fly checks. It is gapping. It is grip change. And just simple little stuff that anybody and everybody can benefit from that so many people overlook. And you've had your clubs sitting out in your garage all winter and you've played 2 seasons on them. You didn't even realize the fact that your grips are dried out, cracking, splitting. Yeah, go throw some fresh grips on there. It's amazing how much of a difference it can make.
And I haven't written any articles like my colleagues on this podcast, but I did call TaylorMade driver winning the Players last week with Rory McIlroy
Yes, you did.
winning.
Yeah, you did.
So Players happened last week, guys. I thought it was a really fun tournament. It was really good to see the players not struggle. Struggle is the wrong word, but the scores were a lot lower than what it has been in the past. I think they finished at like 11, 12 under kind of a thing, which is really good to see. Really fun tournament to watch. I thought JJ did a great job. Really upsetting to see what happened to him in the playoff, but Rory McIlroy coming out and winning. First time he's won this since 2000 and when was it, like 15, I think, something like that. It was a while ago since he's won the Players. He's in form, and it's a different Rory McIlroy this year. It feels like the US Open last year really got to him, and it feels like he's come into this season and it feels like he's being the hunter versus the hunted. I think he's woken up and realized that Scottie Scheffler is the number one player in golf, and there is a big difference between him and Scottie Scheffler. He hasn't made a gear change. He tried to move to the QI35. He didn't. He's gone back to the QI10. Previous Rory McIlroy would have just gone, it doesn't matter, I'll figure it out. What are we thinking about Rory going into the Masters?
Well, I think this is as positive as far as vibes are concerned. I guess we're guessing the least amount about Rory's game going into the Masters probably in the last decade. Like where we're like, okay, like we all kind of know what's going to show up at Augusta. He's gonna be ready to go. He's kind of on I don't want to say a heater, but he's obviously won a couple of times, which is more than he typically does going into the Masters. I do selfishly for the golf business. I hope he wins the Masters. Because I think that would be absolutely amazing for the game itself. To have him winning the Players was the best case scenario for optics, and him winning the Masters would be another shot in the arm for golf business. So selfishly, I want him to win, but yeah, I think he's as good as he's ever looked going into the Masters. And anything that he would struggle with that kind of kills him at the Masters seems to be in order. So people talk about, why he hasn't won at the Masters, like because he hasn't really putted well at Augusta. And he's a great putter, but he hasn't been a good Masters putter, which are two different animals. You can be a good putter on the PGA Tour, but you can also be really terrible at Augusta. He's one of those guys. So he seems to be rolling it really well. So that's kind of what I'm paying attention to is his putter. His driver's fine. Like he does fine. He knows how to get around Augusta with his driver. But I'm kind of watching his stats with the putter, and he's like 15th in putting right now. So obviously I think that's where he is. Something's going on with a putter that's positive, and I think that's what's going to get him over the hump at Augusta is his putter.
Putters and wedges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I would love to see him win. Rory McIlroy is one of my favorite golfers, and I love watching him play, and I agree with you. Johnny, I think it's going to be great for the game of golf if he can pull this off.
What do you think, K-Mac?
Man, I would like to see him check that box for the career Grand Slam. And kind of like you guys were saying, he has a lot more positive momentum. And the elephant in the room, how many times has he been 54 hole leader? And Sunday just, for whatever reason, is that dark, ominous cloud, especially that back nine for him. Oh,
unless he's out of contention, right? Unless he's out of contention, then he always goes off on Sundays.
Yeah, then he shoots 65 the last day. And,
then no problem. Just full send, no big deal. I would like to see Rory win, man. I'd like to see him complete the career Grand Slam and put it all together. That's just kind of cherry on the top for him. And he has been taking so much heat over the last couple of years. I mean, with his very vocal opinion on live and kind of being the
and his vocal support for live too. He's gone like he's gone up, down, left,
right.
right. Like it's kind of wherever the wind takes him. Which I sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I kind of dig how he's been malleable through the whole situation. Some people think it's flighty. I actually think he's just kind of going where the momentum is, which is, to me, that's kind of the best use of him right now, is to just create harmony where there is no harmony.
Well, that first shift where he actually had positive things to say about live, I mean, that lit the media up. And like, is Rory going to live? Is Rory going to live? Like he had this hard nosed stance on, basically the defectors that left the PGA Tour, right? And then all of a sudden he comes out and he's like, well, it's
It's not so bad.
it's not so
Yeah.
bad. Which, I mean, it got the rumor mill started. Like, oh, is Rory going? Is Rory going? And but I mean, back to the Masters, man. It would be really cool to see him pull that off. Is he going to do it? I mean, TBD. Uh, but yeah, I mean, anybody that kind of reaches that milestone in their career is just super cool to see as a golf fan and just a fan of the game. And watching Rory since he was a rookie out on the PGA Tour and coming up and where he is now. Yeah, I'd like to see it. That'd be cool.
Two best scenarios in my mind for golf at the Masters is Rory winning or Jocko Niemann winning.
I would add
Jocko.
I would add one more to that, Spieth. If Spieth can come back and win, just because it's been such a long time since he's done anything great, and this could act like momentum for him, it would be incredible to see him come back and just. And I know with the Jocko Niemann and stuff, it's because Phil came out and said he's the best golfer in the world and all of that.
Well, they need, and sorry to interrupt you, Wade, but like they need. It's kind of like what Bryson winning the U.S. Open last year. It only helps spur on the conversation more when one of their top guys comes in and wins. So like, Brooks won the PGA Championship. All of a sudden, oh, Liv isn't that bad. Then Bryson wins the U.S. Open. Wow, Liv's kind of a party. This is kind of fun. So if Niemann or somebody from Liv comes in and wins the Masters, it just further validates. It's harder to say, well, they only play 54 holes and these guys don't perform well. It sort of levels the conversation again. Everybody kind of calms down and gets excited about all these players coming back together again. So right now we're seeing the tribalization again of Liv versus, with everything that Brandel's saying and all the stuff that's going on, and Phil doesn't help. I literally think Phil sits on his phone. Like he sent that thing.
He's trolling.
He's trolling everybody. By the way, I guarantee he's got a huge smile on his face, just going, "Do you know what? This is going to get this is going to piss some people off. Like I'm going to hit send." It's no different than Trump sitting there with his social media manager, going, "Hey, we're going to pick on this morning. We're going to pick on Wisconsin. Send this tweet." I think that's how it goes down. So like everybody
Here's my
was
list of mean tweets for the week.
Yeah,
there you go.
Which if you understand Phil, like I guarantee he was laughing like this is going to get everybody all fired up. Like let's go. Like let's just keep this hamster wheel running here. But long story longer, I think it would be great if Rory doesn't win, then somebody from Liv actually stepped up and won, because I think the waters get really, really fun when there's success coming from both tours. I remember last year after Bryson won, like the perception of professional golf was a lot more hopeful than it is maybe even today.
So next week, I think, are you coming on the show again next week, Johnny?
Yes.
Okay, so next week, let's have a little bit of a segment about the Masters. Let's actually think through it and turn around and make our picks, all of that kind of stuff. Could be a cool little walkthrough of who's playing, who we think's going to win, all of that kind of stuff. I won't say Jason's Day's name again because the last time I did that, he got sick and pulled out of a tournament. So I won't.
Yeah, we're not again. Trying to.
That was sad.
But and then
sad. He's been playing good too.
I know. But then Kris, something for you to talk about to the people so they know something exciting that we're doing. T-commerce. Do you want to give the guys a bit of a rundown of what's going on with T-commerce?
Yeah, T-commerce. We have fully equipped gear available, and there is a plethora of gear that is fully equipped, branded on our website. and I've been poking around, getting some new swag for myself. So spending a lot more time on camera, and they just insist upon putting me in front of a camera for whatever reason. But
You got good hair.
Lack of face for radio, no hair. Whatever case may be, is what it is. But I digress. The T-commerce has been long time coming for us. We have been uh, campaigning for fully equipped apparel, and it has finally arrived. And there is a ton of stuff on that site, and a ton of manufacturers jumped on board. You can pick a variety of different styles, different colors. And I mean, they have everything from t-shirts to, full out zero restriction rain gear.
Yep.
Anything that your heart desires. We've got this cool new logo that we have been kind of working into the pod the last few months, and I am definitely stoked to get some swag and start repping our brand, and hopefully going to have some in time for Augusta, because I am going this year, and I am
of course you are
super stoked for it. At least going to the practice rounds.
And that URL, just so everyone knows, is shop.golf.com. So go to shop.golf.com and you'll be asked to choose like the fully equipped side. You go in there, and just as Kris was saying, there's a lot of great brands there. You've got some of the major companies like the Peter Millars and what have you of the world that you can put our logo on if that's what you want to do. But they've also got some cool other gear from Lululemon, Carhartt. There's a bunch of brands on there if you're just looking for some everyday gear. I've got some Lululemon t-shirts coming with the logo on it because I wear t-shirts every day. But yeah, I
got some leggings coming.
He's got some leggings coming because you don't get to see his downstairs area when we're recording the podcast. Although, fun fact, next week when Kris is back in the studio, we're going to talk about it. He's got some new shoes coming along, ladies and gentlemen. So the what I've done has worked. We should all be happy, but we're going to go through that as well. But shop.golf.com, choose fully equipped. Go buy some stuff, enjoy it. It's great. Everything is manufactured on time, like as you purchase. So it takes about a week or two for that stuff to come because it is printed on demand. But yeah, go to shop.golf.com and go check it out, ladies and gentlemen. All right, now, Johnny, you teased it at the start. You wanted to talk about the biggest rivalry in golf that everyone's starting to talk about.
Is it a rivalry though? Is it really a rivalry?
I hope Sam makes it one, because if I know Sam like I do, he needs to come out and just be very vocal about it. But Odyssey, Lab, Johnny, the floor is yours. Go for it, mate.
Well, okay. So obviously my old employer, they came out with a putter that's very similar to, something else that's out in the market, which is as a DF. It's the DF, right? The Lab DF putter.
DF3. Yeah, the DF3.
Yeah, DF3. Okay. So I had never seen it when I was at Callaway. I had never seen that. Maybe I'd seen a mold of it or something like that, but you see molds of a lot of different things when you're looking at R&D stuff. Like you might see 50 molds, and they might be a mimic or a new design or whatever the hell it is. None of them, 95% of them, never see the light of day. So when I saw that in a forum that looked to me like one of the sales sheets that they would send out to reps, and I saw that putter, I was like, this has got to be some sort of a joke. Like there's no way that they did that design. Like it's too close to home. It's just a little too close to home. Then I found out that it was a real thing. And like, do I understand how it happened and why it happened? Sure. Yeah. I mean, if it's, knowing Chip, who's not afraid to take a winger on something, like if he thinks something's going to sell and he thinks that Odyssey can do it better or as well, then he's going to put it out there. Like that's just him. That's I see that coming from a mile away. My question is, if I'm Sam Hahn at Lab, I probably wouldn't be pushing back on it all that much. I mean, I would look at it from the point of like, flattery is, it's great. It's good to know that you guys are identified that we're making good putters too, and we're going to continue to just make our putters. Like, I don't think it's going to chew into Lab's business. I don't think you have to pick one or the other. I think Lab's still going to continue to make their way, and they've created a lane for themselves. And I really don't think what other company does around them or with one of their ideas matters, because what Lab is doing is creating Lab players. So they're getting people to buy into their technology and how he fits and makes putters. So it's not necessarily model specific, it's like brand specific. Like people just seem to like the idea of Lab and what Sam stands for. So they're going to buy his putter regardless if there's an Odyssey or a Scotty Cameron version of it. I don't think anybody really cares. I think people like buying Lab putters because they're Lab putters. And they're more expensive than all these putters we're talking about. So, and he still sells them. They still sell like crazy. So I just don't think that this matters. I really don't. I mean, I think
I don't think it matters either, mate. I think when it comes down to it, a couple of years ago, before Lab became Lab and they were kind of on the verge, I heard a couple of people turn around and say, until people start kind of imitating, it's not a thing. It's been a couple of years. We're seeing more and more of it on the tour. Now we're seeing people imitate them, and now it's a thing. I think what's exciting for Lab in this regard is that I think a lot of people called Sam a mad scientist for a really long time. I think people turned around and said Lab is it's going to be a niche brand. It's going to come and it's going to go, et cetera, et cetera. And I think this is a little bit more solidification for him that what he's doing is right, the path he's on is right, and he should keep going down that way. And whether it's right for you as a golfer, whether it's right for me as a golfer, or whether it's right for Kris as a golfer, it doesn't matter. People are going to fit into them or they're not. You're either going to like it or you're not. That's why there are so many putters out there to choose from with different looks, feels, necks, inserts, et cetera, et cetera. But for me, I'm stoked for Sam more than anything because to your point, imitation is the biggest form of flattery, and I think he's worked his ass off to get to here and gone through many years of just grinding and grinding and grinding, and I'm excited and ridicule
of people telling him it's never going to work, it's never going to catch on.
And I'm excited for him, and he's such a good dude. I text him, and I know how busy he is. I'll text him and go, hey, can you do me a favor? I got a VIP customer that needs something, and they're like, yep, I gotcha. Like he answers straight away. Like he's just one of the good dudes out there, and I'm just stoked for him.
Yeah, so I actually talked to him like 2 days ago, and like to your point, Wade, this is where Sam's cool. Like, you know, he sent me a couple of putters, and he'll follow up. Like, what did you think? Did you have a chance to like? He wants to know like what's going on. So I called him and kind of explained like, you know, I'm really liking the one he just sent me. It's really starting to work, and you know, had some more questions for. But we started talking about this part of it, and he's not going to go into it too far with me. Like, but from what I can gather from him and what he was and the way he was going about it, wasn't like, how dare they do this? And oh my God, here's the big guy coming after the little guy. He wasn't taking that tact at all. It's kind of like, hey, it's actually kind of interesting. It's actually kind of cool. Like I just leads me to believe I'm doing something pretty cool. And Sam is never going to get taken out at this point in the game from another design. Sam, the only person that could ruin Sam's business now is if Sam lets his foot off the gas pedal.
Agree.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, so in that he is not, if for all of us that know Sam, that's not Sam. Like, you know, when you want to talk about where the mad scientist part comes in, the fact that the guy will stay up at, you know, for 6 days in a row trying to nail in a design. Like, you know,
if I'm Sam, I take note of every single person on tour that's non-lab that moves to a zero torque putter, especially whoever moves to this, you know, same look and feel of the DF3, and I send them a putter because obviously these people are thinking about defecting from their current putter and going into this avenue. So if I'm him, this is a really good opportunity for me to get more high-profile people, even more high-profile people, on tour into lab putters. On a business side of things, that's what I would be doing. Because obviously it's not just Odyssey that's doing it, right? It's you know, we've seen TaylorMade is coming out with one. Everyone's coming out with a zero torque putter. Everyone is now. So there's obviously a lot of people out there that are testing them, that are thinking about going to it, and they're like, hold on, I'll make one for you first. So this is nothing but good news for Sam and Lab Golf.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's bad news for. I mean, the optics for Odyssey are like a little weird, but even then, it's like, well, we just wanted an option for that guy that, you know, you can spin it away pretty easily, and the reasons would be, we wanted something in that shape to satisfy that player that's looking for that loves Odyssey putters. Like, okay, great, that's just that alone, perfect.
They have 50 putters in their catalog. What's another one?
Right, and so you can just say, check that box off, like whatever, like, and they're a big enough company to do that. And you know, I will say this, like, Chip doesn't do anything half tilt. Like, he thinks all this stuff through.
Yep.
you know, people are like, well, that's just such a bad look. It's really not. I guarantee Chip sat there and goes, you know what? Like, are the odds of this thing, people calling us copycats for a second, maybe, but ultimately, like, is this going to be our flagship putter? No, but I just want to say I offer that lab putter player. I got something for you too, just so you can come over and look at this one. And if you don't like this one, maybe there's another Odyssey putter you might like. And that's literally all it is.
Makes sense.
But is it any different from when people just copied Carsten over at Ping for his shape?
Oh my God, the whole industry is built off of
that's what
Ping.
I mean. Like that's what I mean. Like it's just it just begets. It's a circle, right? It's a snowball. It just keeps going and going and going. This is just part of it.
Yeah, everything is a version of either an Odyssey, an OG Odyssey putter, or Ping putter.
Right.
Like, or even Ray Cook. I can even say Ray Cook before Odyssey. Like the Rossi putter literally looks like the old Ray Cook mallet, which was the first mallets that we really saw. So, everybody copies everybody. Like, and you know, at this point, it's just who markets it better, and it's not even down to performance anymore because they all perform too. So, you know, at this point, it's like, what story do you like the best, and how cool do you want your bag to look on the street?
Yep.
That's kind of like what it's boiling down to.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, boys, I don't think that was as polarizing a topic as we could have made it. We could have just gone full tilt on, you know, one tribe versus the other, but
I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're at Mercedes versus BMW. Remember when they went on that full tilt campaign against each other, where they were putting billboards on top of everyone? Like, I don't think we're there yet. It would be lovely if something like that happened, just to talk about it, because it would just be fun to talk about. But I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately.
No,
I don't see it getting there. I don't see it getting to that point. There's, there is a strong loyalist following that Lab has created, and I mean, we can't forget about Bill with his affiliation with Lab and getting that company off the ground and running, and his designs, and Bill was a huge instrument in getting Lab up and running. I mean, I can remember him peddling the original Lab putters through True Specs HQ when they were just coming off the ground, and everybody was looking at him like, "You want to do what? Like, this is you what are you trying to accomplish here?" And there was definitely a lot of naysayers that said this is never going to work. And I mean, he persevered, and now between Bill and Sam, I mean, this company has absolutely taken off and has worldwide notoriety now, which is really cool to see.
In a short amount of time. We're talking 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years.
Like, we're talking 2 years, because I remember when I first got on tour in 2021, there was a couple Lab putters around there. Like, there was a rep that would, you know, have a couple in his hand. And then in 22, you started to see a few more. Maybe you might see 4 or 5. And then the end of 23 and all last year, the Lab thing just took over. Like, they were, I mean, they were everywhere. There was like, there's always clubs that sneak into bags on tour. Ping drivers sneak into bags. Aaron Dill wedges sneak into every bag on tour at some point. He gets a wedge in anybody's bag. And these Lab putters, like, they just end up somehow. Guy starts struggling, wants a different look. Then the guy, all of a sudden, the guy's got 2 Lab putters. It doesn't matter what staff you're on. Sam just gets putters to try in everybody's bag.
Has Lab won a major yet? I can't recall if they. I know. I don't think they've won a major yet, have they?
What's that, Lab?
In PGA, not LPGA. I think they've won LPGA major. Have they won a PGA major?
No, they haven't won any majors yet.
Okay. That'd be a cool thing for them if they could get.
Well, trust me, if he had won a major, it'd be all over the marketing. Like, we'd have hats already with you know, picture of Sam holding the, you know, U.S. Open trophy.
This is very true.
I don't think it's a matter of if, it's just when it's going to happen, because it'll happen.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I agree.
Maybe that's what Rory needs at Augusta. He needs a Lab putt.
No,
that would be something.
Don't place.
Well, I guess next week we'll have some fun stuff to talk about, and we can recap everybody on the Kingdom and the Titleist trip.
Yep.
And then we're gonna start ramping up for
Masters,
which I cannot wait. Live Miami is coming up.
Are you heading there?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That is going to be
take some Red Bull.
That's going to be fun at Trump Doral. We did film yesterday with Rocco Media. We filmed our first tour testing kind of test video, and he hit all the Cobra stuff yesterday, and it was actually quite funny because he hadn't hit a Cobra driver in like 15 years.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he's starting to hit, he hits LS. He wasn't spinning it enough. And I was like, okay. So then I hand him the X driver, and all of a sudden he starts hitting these beautiful little draws. And they were going out about 5 or 10 yards past his ping. And he's kind of looking at me. He kind of hits another one and another one and another one. So like he ended up walking out with a Cobra driver and a Cobra 3 wood from a video shoot because he was hitting them so good. So
that's hilarious.
Love that.
That's the whole point of those videos, by the way, is just to see if you spark like any, like, oh wait, maybe I should try this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Maybe there's
cool.
something here.
Yeah, it was cool.
Cool. All right, lads. Well, yeah, can't wait to catch up next week. Can't wait to hear all about your trips at TPI and the Kingdom, and see what happens from that, what you got fit into, and all of that. Can't wait to talk about the Masters. Maybe we should all get a pimento cheese sandwich and eat that while we're talking about the Masters. But
I'm going egg salad.
Going eggs. We'll do it live. But
do it live. I'll write it. We'll do it live. Yeah, keep on.
But yeah, lads, have a great rest of your week. Johnny, have fun, and can't wait to catch up and speak to you guys next week.
Thanks, boys.
All right,
Sounds good, gents.